Well, hi, welcome to my garden. It's been a while since we've had enough rain that we could grow enough grass that we could actually rake. You know what we're going to do today? We're going to talk about compost. Come on, let's see what we got. Truth be told, it finally cooled off enough I'm not going to kill myself to rake. We probably could have raked a couple times. Now this is one heck of a compost pile. It's pretty green in here. I did this on purpose. I think you were with me when we opened this up. We've been using this soil, this potting mix. The finished compost works really well for that. Then I saw a couple things happening that I thought I'd just let that go. And that way we got something to talk about. One of the reasons we put that deep mulch 4 inches thicker across the garden is it stops weeds from growing. We're now in the last week of August. If we didn't have the mulch down, the entire garden would look like this with this grass all up in here. We got volunteer tomatoes that aren't going to have time to produce. But look at this grass. Once it starts, and this is an area that we just left open, I mean, that's how much grass you can have in your garden. And you're going to be fighting that all summer long if you don't put the mulch down. Well, one of the things I don't mind having this in this mulch pile, it just shows you how much life we have in the soil. Look at those roots. That's a good part of breaking this down. Another reason I wanted to use this as an example, but this is also going to be a green. We're going to go ahead and just toss it up in this other bay. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this entire bed up, and we're going to throw all of this green in this other bay. Then we'll talk about how we're going to layer this. I mean, that was just one grass plant. And we got another one right here. And another one right here. Now, if you want to spend all your time in the garden doing that versus harvesting, that's up to you. But that's just one of the benefits I find with the deep mulch. Well, let me go ahead and clean this up, get this moved in this other bin, and then we're going to go ahead and start layering it like we're supposed to. That is one grass plant. And no, it's not the kind of grass that the kids talk about. If you're worried about the roots that are coming off of this grass that I'm moving over there, this will heat that up and they will die back. That won't be a problem. But it does add a nice layer of green in there. By doing it this way, we're putting some of the finished compost, which has really good bacteria and fungus in it. We're putting that in to inoculate the middle of the pile. See right here? See all these little white strands? That's that mycorrhizal fungi. And yeah, there's little pill bugs all over the place. If you have something for them to eat, and they like to eat mulch, they're not going to mess with your garden. At least that's what I found. You can just see how moist and how nice that is down in there. We're going to want to fill some containers and start some seeds for our late fall garden. I hope you join me for that. But for right now, let's go ahead and start putting our layers in for the real compost pile. And all I'm doing here is just kind of leveling this off a little bit. Get them in the corners. And then when we turn it, we'll move those corners into the middle next time. And right here, we've got a really nice layer of green. This time of year, though, our browns are kind of hard to come by. My wood chips are all working as mulch. The leaves haven't started to fall, so what do? Well, you got some other options. So let's go ahead and put in a layer of brown. And this is shredded up paper, newspaper, Riley's fur when we vacuumed. And the bag, that's a brown. And just like everything else, kind of spread this out evenly. And the bag, that works as a brown. Just set that in there. Unless you're using a magazine with that real slick surface, this kind of dye, it's made out of vegetables, so it breaks down. You're not a problem there. The other thing you can use is cardboard. We have a little bit of cardboard from when we started those last carrots. They've been weathered. They're breaking down already. So just kind of layer those in there. You don't want to make a mat of anything where it's going to become anaerobic. So now we got a little layer of brown. Put a little bit of kitchen scraps. There's some coffee grounds there. That's a green. Since we don't have the leaves or the wood chips right now, I do have some kind of halfway decomposed vines that we've taken off. We're going to kind of call this half brown, half green. I think that you could call brown. We're going to put a little bit more of this good compost in here. Kind of spread it around. Now to start heating this up good, we're going to go ahead and put lawn clippings on here. Kind of spread that out into a nice even layer. In a lot of places they consider hay to be a green, and it pretty much is if you wet it down to begin with. This stuff, you could call this hay, but some long grass that I cut a while back on the roadside and just let pile up, let dry down. Knowing that I didn't have a lot of brown, we're going to call this brown. A couple little forkfuls of this good compost on here. Get some of that good life going. Now there are definitive books on how to do this. And you want to have your ratios of brown and green. And you want to mix it, stir it up every whatever amount of time. You know what? It's very hard to get that much stuff and to be that precise. What I found, you should make a pretty fine compost by piling together whatever you can get your hands on. Sort of like the mulch. Now my compost gets hot. This compost, since it is over 3 feet high and 3 feet wide, it will get hot. And this grass is still green, and it will get hot. When we put grass like this on the garden, we let it sit for a week so that when we put it on the garden, it's not going to hurt the plants. Now the compost, the deep mulch method I'm using, basically this. Stir whatever you can find together, 4 inches thick or thicker. Keeps those weeds from growing. Lets the life in the soil thrive. I like doing this for containers and for starting seedlings. I'm in no hurry. I can't get enough stuff gathered up to cover the entire garden in this kind of compost, so this works really well for me. I hope that encourages you. You don't have to follow any kind of rule book. All kitchen scraps. I'd leave the fats and the chicken bones and stuff out. You can compost those, but that's a little different deal. And I do not recommend that. Put your coffee grounds, your eggshells, all your peels, all of them, citrus included. I put it all out here. When you vacuum, the dirt and dust from your house, put it out here. Your pet hair, put it out here. Old newspapers, old sacks, old cardboard, put it out here. All the leaves in the fall that you're not going to put on your garden, put in here. Any grass that you're not going to put on the garden, put in here. Kind of level it off, make layers. When you get around to it, turn it, add some more. That's Wayland's Easy Compost. It's done pretty well for me. I hope that encourages you. Now, if you want to see more about compost, I got quite a playlist right there. And I'll meet you right back over here in the compost pile. If you want to learn about the deep mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you right back in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.